Everybody, welcome to another Street Epistemology review show. What's up, everybody? How's it going?
Hi there. Good to see you.
How's it going?
Yeah, we know all the people here. You've seen these people before. Let's just get straight into the video. Here we go.
Sounds good.
If I can, now I just had to refresh my audio. Now I got to add the video file again.
Oh, no worries. It's good to see everybody on a nice Saturday.
Yeah.
Here we go.
You believe that meditation is...
This video is with Quinn from Quinn Questions. He might be joining us very soon, so stay tuned for that.
saying you believe that meditation is what?
Meditation is definitely one of the best ways to not only find inner peace and relaxation, but to connect with Mother Earth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And sorry, just recap. You were saying you just came back from a retreat or something?
No, actually, just a quick meditation. So I hiked up
just
there.
now.
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
And I found a nice spot next to the river. And I just listened to the river as I let my thoughts drift and to connect that way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have a tough time meditating myself. Like I get distracted,
Sometimes it's easier than others.
I think I want to say something about this. So this is one of the things that I love about watching Quinn's videos is I feel like he's just having a conversation.
Yeah.
He has no problems revealing stuff about himself. As long as I think he makes a point not to maybe, be challenging or be like annoying. But here he is. He's saying, I meditate too. I'm just like you. And it feels real. It feels like a real connection.
You'd learn a lot from how he does things. Sometimes when in these conversations, I get kind of antsy and like, okay, enough rapport building. Let's get to the questions. But there's a lot to be said to kind of chill and just, really kind of establish a good rapport with the person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, who is more chill? I think Quinn might overtake me in the chill mode, in the chillness.
It's a different kind of.
Right.
I think it's something. Yeah, like what he's doing feels more like a natural conversation, and then every once in a while he'll interject a question about epistemology, but it really feels natural. It doesn't feel forced. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I'm not going to lie, but I love to meditate. And so sometimes I do it with music. Sometimes I do it with silence. Today, I just really wanted to connect with the river.
Right.
So it's anything that kind of puts you into that peaceful, where you can be free and just let yourself go kind of state.
Yeah, what is meditation? I know it's probably hard to define, but how would you describe it?
I would describe it as an opportunity to free your mind of worry and fear and all those things that bring us down, and just introduce a new vibration, a higher vibration, and, really for our positive future, but also for the moment, to just be in the moment.
You think it's beneficial for your future to meditate, but it's also just it feels good in the moment. It
feels good in the moment, but see, I believe that we create our future in the moment. So if the more time that we spend in a peaceful or happy, high vibrational state, we are actually calling that to us into our future.
Great. Very clear claim. It's very fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, what up, Quinn?
Oh, there he is.
Hey, Quinn.
There
I'm
you
so
are.
sorry. Here I am.
Okay.
No worries.
Just
No
started
problem.
your video.
Oh shit.
We just started.
Shoot. Okay.
But, yeah.
This is not a national television. You can.
Okay, who's here? Reid, Chucky. Hey, howdy.
Hey.
Mark.
Yeah.
Diamond. I don't
Diamond.
think I've ever met you before, dude. Nice.
We
to meet you.
haven't gotten to work together yet, no, but I've seen your videos. Yeah, you can find me at Diamond Discourse. So
Oh, sweet.
yeah, I think we might
Awesome.
have played poker once.
I don't think
Maybe.
I've played
You
yet.
haven't done poker yet?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't done poker yet.
Anyway, another
good
SE
to meet you,
review
though.
show,
Yeah.
bringing people together. Loving it.
That's right.
So this
just were yeah, go ahead.
this one in general, like I felt this SE session with Aurora. I just wanted to say, like, I feel like I was very checked out during this one in particular.
Hmm.
But the reason I uploaded it was because despite me being like sick and checked out and all this kind of stuff, what she had to say, I think, was very just interesting.
Hmm.
Like she still was talking quite a bit, and she just had a lot of interesting ideas. I wish I could go back and ask more relevant questions, but I think it was still an interesting conversation, you know, despite me being, you know.
Now, where are you set up? You're like at a park, or how do you come about where you are?
So this one's weird because it's like 2 miles deep into just a trail, like a public trail. And mostly it's like horse riders and bikers, but there's some hikers too. And yeah, so I have to lug all my equipment out like really deep into this trail.
Wow.
And yeah, that's
Cool.
that's where I'm at.
It's great. I'm sure people are surprised, like some guy doing a podcast all the way out here. That's fun. It's great.
Yeah, I get more people just walking up, I think, because they're surprised. So it's less difficult here than other places where I feel like I have to like accost people.
Right. Surely people are in a reflective mood when they're that far from the city. Yeah.
That's what I found. Yeah.
Awesome.
So we just watched you repeat back her definition of meditation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed is you do it in your own your own interpretation of it. You're not giving word for word. And she mentions this vibrational states kind of a couple times here, and I think later on in the video you get into it, but I think it's a nice approach to check if you're understanding them correctly without necessarily repeating back their words, because if you just parrot it back, it doesn't mean you understood it, right? So I thought that was a nice approach.
Yeah, thank you. I think both can work, like repeating back exactly and doing your own interpretation. But yeah, you're right. It's about making sure that you personally understand it, or conveying that at least. And the way I typically do that is by like rephrasing it in my own words, you know.
Yep.
This little thing where you are repeating it back, it was another way in which I like your videos, because if this were me, I would be like, vibrational energies, let's talk about that. What do you mean by that? What is that? And you just let it slide, like, yeah, okay.
That's the thing. There's so much that I let slide, and this one in particular, like she just says so much, you know. So,
but I think it served to.
It worked. Yeah.
She enjoyed talking to you, right? I think that's the key.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that was more the mood I was in. I guess at that point, it was like I wanted to just have a not at all a turbulent conversation. Like I was just kind of relaxing, and we had that kind of interaction. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, let's keep going. Here we go.
Moment. So if the more time that we spend in a peaceful or happy, high vibrational state, we are actually calling that to us into our future. So we are creating the future in the now. Yeah. So if you spend your time in a low vibration, fearful, worried, all those things, stressed out and stuff, and that's what you're getting more of in your future. But if you intentionally allow yourself to feel happy and joyful and peaceful and hopeful, that is what you are actually attracting into your now,
Okay.
into your future.
So you think like the happier you are consistently, it's just like a momentum kind of thing.
Yes.
Like you'll just keep being more happy.
Absolutely. And it's
And
easier.
the inverse is true.
It's easier. It's actually easier to feel happy and high vibrational than it is to feel sad or low vibrational.
Okay.
But it is all about momentum. So if you start having thoughts that are taking you in the
Pringles crack me
direction
up.
of unhappiness, then that momentum picks up, and so you start to dig yourself into sort of a rabbit hole, right? But if you actually just allow yourself to be calm, to be still, to just breathe in the moment and like listen to the river, do something beautiful, a piece of art that you love, anything that lets your mind rest.
Yeah.
You are actually letting yourself become high vibrational. So it's leading you straight to joy, and then that momentum picks up. And so when you start falling back into those feelings that you don't want, it feels intense because you're like, oh, I've already sipped the cup of fabulous, I don't really want to go back there anymore.
And
Before we get to the next question,
can you just
Quinn, I just want to know, at this point, there's so many different forks you could go down, right? And this next question feels like you're making that choice. How do you decide at this point what you pursue, what you think is most interesting? Because there's like so much there.
Yeah, well, I think so. I watched this last night just to kind of remember what happened, and I think it's I'm asking her, can you just choose like which? I think she said, like you start slipping into negative feelings, and I've already sipped a cup of fabulous, and I don't want to go back into this negative state. And I asked her, and can you just choose not to? And that to me was that to me wasn't really the direction that the conversation went. I think that might be more of a free will versus determinism kind of conversation that we ended up skipping out on because she ended up mentioning law of attraction. And that's when she said law of attraction, I think that's kind of what I wanted to talk about once she said it.
Gotcha. So
just
kind of whatever interests you out of that you get curious about. Yeah.
I think I have like this bias to my questions about, or that's just like whatever is most interesting to me, that's what I ask questions about.
It's probably a good rule, right? Because then you're interested in the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, the questions feel more genuine, I guess. Like because I really didn't want to talk about meditation that badly, but I did want to talk about law of attraction.
Gotcha. Here we go.
just choose not to? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everything is deliberate. Everything is intentional. No matter what is happening in your world, in the world around you, you can choose to be happy just by breathing in this moment. And know, because the key is knowing that the next moment is going to be better.
Can you pause right here?
And then the next...
Yep. That's what I wish I asked a question about. How do you know that the next moment is going to be better? I wish I'd asked, because she said it and I just kind of let it slide because I assumed that she just decided to know that the next moment is going to be better, but I feel like that could have been a fruitful avenue of conversation.
Yeah, my guess is that if you had asked her, like, are all moments better than the moments before, I'm honestly not sure how she would have answered, because like maybe if your perspective is positive enough, maybe all moments are better than the previous moment.
Right. Like even a question like, in your life, has every moment been better than the last?
Right. Has it?
I doubt it.
Yeah.
Yeah, with these very psychologically motivated beliefs, like she's using this belief to make sense of how to, I think, feel like she has passive control in life. Like how to get joy, how to feel comfortable in that way, how to feel happy. So maybe like I'm trying to experiment with this new reframing of it. If like how can I would try to reframe the conversation into like the very broad question: how can we feel confident that in the next moment we will be happy or have joy? And one potential answer to that is to follow the law of attraction, is what I'm hearing from her. But what are the other potential answers to that question? And like, if we had alternate ways and we felt safe that we could potentially find other ways, then we might be able to be more comfortable to talk about the epistemology of law of attraction.
Yeah, I've seen you experimenting with that at UCLA. Like, namely, I think you had a couple people bring up astrology, and you ended up, I think, early on asking that question of what are some other ways, or how do we go about finding out who we are, or something like that? Like these broad questions that these like supernatural or whatever things kind of address.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've never gone that route before. But it's a cool experiment.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep trying
my
all that.
My understanding about this belief, when I talk to people who have the belief of law of attraction, is that kind of at its base is kind of goes to one of Nathan's questions on his questionnaire. Instead of reality creating beliefs, it sort of works the other way around. The belief creates the reality in this belief, at least the way I understand it.
Right.
It seems to be related to optimism versus pessimism. I feel like the people who are attracted to this belief are just like, I don't know, even stronger than what I'm about to say, but naturally optimistic, right? They not only want to live in a world where things are good, but they imagine that they live in that world regardless.
And if they believe it, they can make it so.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I feel like I almost don't want to challenge it, because my God, they must be happier than I am. Like, because I am at the other end of that spectrum. I feel like things are going to go shit all the time. And it's like they both should be challenged, but I almost don't want to challenge the person who's happy.
That's a good question.
But
Yeah.
it removes the the answer to why bad things happen of like it chance. If your model is that if something bad happens to you, it's your fault because you didn't believe or think a certain way, then you can blame yourself for bad things happening because you didn't.
But do you
that
think that's
belief
what
out
this
there.
person would say? Do you think so? If you, and maybe this is a question for Quinn, but what do you think she would say if you asked her, is everything always good, or is everything always better than before?
Oh man, I really wish I asked. I think she would say, I personally think she would say, as long as I've been practicing law of attraction and like mindful meditation and all of that kind of stuff, yes. And it's my assumption that that's like a delusion or a spell that she's put herself under, but I think she would say yes.
Okay.
That for her, every moment that she's been manifesting her future with her thoughts has been better than the last.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Anyway, okay, keep going here.
This moment after that is going to be better. You just know how the law of attraction works, and you invite it every day into your life. You start your day that way, you end your day that way, you just continue to go. And so sometimes we need a little bit of a refresher, a buffer, and so that's why I like changing it up when I meditate.
Like
so
different scenery and stuff like that? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, some people prefer the same thing over and over again, and that's great if that works for them. I like to change it up because sometimes it is difficult for me too. So I just like to follow my heart and see what calls me.
I've heard this before, but I've kind of heard different tellings of it. What is the law of attraction?
So basically I liken it to a magnet, right? But it's a magnet of thought. So basically you are instructing the universe what you want to bring into your life by your thoughts. Okay. And so if my thoughts are happy and joyful or peaceful in this moment, then I'm telling the law of attraction, which is like a science law. I'm instructing the universe what things do I want to come into my life. So if I am feeling sad, or I'm purposely looking at violent things or hearing stories that make me sad, my attention to it is the magnet. And so the law of attraction is saying, oh, she is focused on hard feelings or sad feelings or violent feelings. That must be what she wants. So her focus is over here. Let's give her more of that.
Got it.
This is where I would go. Like, what's the limit of this mechanism for changing reality? Like, how far can we push this? I would love to go down that road a little bit.
Yeah, it's another route I wish I went down. Like, can you fly right now if you believed you could, or can you end world hunger just by thinking about it. Why haven't you done that before? I don't know. Stuff
There's
like
also
that.
an interesting contrast between what she described as a science law. She said it's like a science law, but then she kind of personifies it and saying, well, this is what you want. Like, I'd be curious if she views like gravity as the same. Really, is it really like a science law, or is it actually like a Mother Nature, sort of consciousness going on?
Yeah.
I think they get into the anthropomorphization thing next. I think.
Oh, do they?
Soon after this, yeah.
Right.
I'll get into that.
Yeah.
So, thank you for sitting down, by the way. Do you mind if I ask you a couple more?
No, not at all.
Cool. I guess I'm curious, like, you're sort of describing, yourself and your thoughts, and then the universe are sort of like the three players here. Mm-hmm. And you're describing like the universe, when you are paying attention to violent things or harmful things, or even just sad things, boring things, any kind of a thing, the universe is responding by giving you more of it, is kind of what you're saying.
Correct.
I'm curious if you're anthropomorphizing, or if these are symbolic ways of thinking about it, or if you actually think that the universe is a conscious being that is giving you things when you think it.
Okay. Sorry, I don't quite understand the word that you use.
Anthropomorphizing.
Yes.
It's when you attribute human characteristics to things that aren't human.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that. Yeah. So yes, I used to think that it's very symbolic. Mm-hmm. When people say universe or God or being, spirit, whatever it is, I used to think it was very symbolic. After living it over and over and over again, I can absolutely tell you it's a living, breathing entity that is itself and me at the same time. It's that connectedness, if that's a word, connectedness to all that is. And so my thoughts become its thoughts. Its love becomes my love. It's a reaction. And so it makes absolute sense when you think of law of attraction as a magnet, because what you are focused on becomes it. And so it comes into your life.
What you're focused on becomes it?
Becomes the consciousness. It becomes reality, and that is how I know that our reality, even though we're going through some very difficult times, I know that it's shifting, because every time that we are deliberate in just allowing ourselves to feel peace as an individual, we are consciously telling the universe.
Yeah. I've watched this back like at least 4 or 5 times now, this explanation, and I still don't really quite understand what she's saying. Like she's saying, like, she uses the word it in connecting with it, but I'm not sure which mechanism she's using to connect, or how, like, what is connecting with what exactly. I'm assuming she's connecting with Mother Earth at large. So through, I don't know.
I took it to mean universe. I don't know, but
universe.
Yeah. I might be reading too much into it, but I get the feeling that she feels the universe as a person, and that person makes her feel good. There's something about all of this stuff makes her feel good, and so she didn't maybe want to get into all that so directly, and so she just was saying, like, kind of talking around it.
Right. Yeah. Like she calls Mother Nature her, and like speaks about it as though it's a person. Right. But I don't know that. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. I was thinking at this point that there could be the way she describes it, there could be a good test to offer her, but I'm trying to think of how to word it. Because the way she's describing how the universe is and how it cares about you, and if there's some way we could set up a test of whether there's an uncaring universe who doesn't care about you, and how we could know, how could we maybe a third person could know what is more objectively true. But I'm just trying to think. Just trying to think of a good way to set that up.
I tried to ask, what is the best example of you using the law of attraction and it working in your life? And then try to infer from that best example the mechanism and try to see if we can replicate that example in any way.
I wonder how useful it would be, though, because she's so optimistic. What would happen if you asked about things that are negative? Because of course she's going to have examples of it working, but when is it? Have there ever been times when it didn't work, and why did?
What happens when negative things happened in your life? When negative things happen in your life, why is that?
Right.
I'm kind of curious to know. Yeah.
Yeah, chance or not.
Or
being
you
able
didn't
to
try
think,
hard enough.
Didn't believe hard enough.
Right.
Didn't attract hard enough. Anyway, keep going.
Verse and becoming one with it and saying, I want more peace. And not only does that affect my life, but it affects everyone around us. It affects nature. It affects people. It affects businesses. It just grows. It has to. And so we attract those types of things because our consciousness is one with the universe.
So I'm trying to understand that part. I guess one thing that would help me clarify is you think that this happens for you, when you think about good things, or like you say, high vibrational things, which I'm assuming are like positive things in your life. That's when you see change in your life. But do you think it works for everybody? Is that kind of what you're saying? Okay.
Yes. It works for every being.
Every conscious being.
Every being,
I love
which
this part.
is
Plants.
human, animals, plants, earth, rocks, water, air.
That's a little more extreme. Wow.
And at some point, I think Quinn points to his microphone, and she's like, "Yes, the microphone too."
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the unifying element of all these things to her was something like electromagnetic waves or something.
Because that's the energy she's talking about, the frequencies.
Yeah.
Well, it goes with the
some term
magnetism
like that.
theme of attraction.
Oh,
right?
right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so she was sort of analogizing, saying that all these things have thoughts, microphones and rocks and stuff, but I guess what she really meant to say, what humans and Mother Nature and microphones all have are electromagnetic waves, and that's how they attract each other.
Maybe she's just discovered gravity.
That's a different field.
I couldn't have helped diving into this energy thing. I'm so interested in the idea that rocks have thoughts.
That's right. She says,
what
rocks has
experiences?
thoughts. Yeah.
What experiences does she have that confirms that rocks have thoughts? Or it must be, right, like you're saying, it must be a different meaning of the word thought. But rocks seem so inert to me.
I'd want to know what she means by thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll see about the microphone here.
It works for
everything. But for us, it
everything.
works with thoughts.
Yes, for us it works with thoughts,
Okay.
but plants and animals, trees, they all have thoughts too.
Rocks?
Rocks, Mother Earth.
Rocks have
Earth
thoughts.
itself, and when I say Earth, it's Mother Earth is the consciousness around the whole globe. It's around the actual planet.
Oh, when you refer to Mother Earth, you're talking about the consciousness of Earth.
Of nature and everything, because she is alive also.
Okay.
The planet itself is alive, and it has a heartbeat, and it has a thought, and so it recognizes when people all around the world do things to just feel positive in the
Right.
moment, because no, that's fine. That picks up on, she picks up on our positive vibe. We pick up on her vibe, and it's this constant
like a
chain
loop.
of, yes,
Okay.
of goodness, I guess.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Why do you think that rocks have thoughts and that the Earth has thoughts and stuff like that?
Can we
Why
pause
do
it?
I think it?
Yeah.
I
any
just,
thoughts?
I want to apologize to everyone for how horribly formed that question was. I mean, it's a straightforward question, but I literally said, "Why do you think rocks have thoughts and stuff?"
That's a good.
The answer.
That's a good question.
That's fine.
That's a very
Is
reasonable
it if you
question.
remove the and stuff? Would that be
Yes.
better?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that would be better.
Gotcha.
I think it was just such a, I don't know. I'm just
Remove the
embarrassed.
what?
But anyway,
Well,
the
I don't
and
think you
stuff
need
at the end.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that one wasn't bad.
That's
I
how
could
people
criticize
talk.
your
That's how
earlier one
people
if you
talk.
want, though.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Well, your earlier one was a little wordy, like, because I think you were thinking about the question. It could have been just, does this work for everyone? Right. It could have been 3 words, right? But
Not
this
the
one was fine.
anthropomorphizing one. The one about
no.
my question. What would help me clarify? You think this works for yourself? Like that
Right,
was wordy.
right. Yeah,
You're
because you
right.
kind of
Yeah.
started like with you, and it was very sort of, but this way instead of, yeah.
No,
But
you're right. Yeah.
totally, you have so much rapport to burn. It's like not a problem.
I would say to add things like and stuff to questions, it actually makes you seem more human and not like a person doing a survey.
Not a robot.
Right? Like that's just how people talk.
Right.
you know?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess so.
But I would love to know, what do you mean by thoughts before you even get into why do you think rocks have thoughts? Because
Yeah.
surely she doesn't think of
Yeah.
thoughts.
I mean,
the same way that-
she kind of mentions
So
that.
she does. Okay.
How does she?
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Sorry.
little bit.
No, that's fine.
First of all,
That's fine.
how confident would you say you are on a scale of 0 to 100 that is true? what
Oh,
you're saying?
100.
100?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why are you
know
100%?
I am 100% sure because it's one of those things where now we step into out of the material and into the spiritual.
Okay.
I feel it.
Mm.
And if I feel
Okay,
connected to this tree,
there's
for
something about
example,
this that really, when I saw this part of the video, I thought to myself, I would love to show this to my religious relatives, right? Who aren't spiritual. Who, I mean, in this way, they're not like hippies. They're not energy seeking. They're just religious. And I would love to show this to them and have them watch it and go, wait a second, this is exactly how I justify my belief, even though it's a completely different belief. It just seems so powerful.
Right.
I just wanted to remark on that because
Are you saying that they would? Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I think they would recognize. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah, they probably disagree.
Well, they definitely disagree that rocks have thoughts, right? Like they definitely disagree that rocks have thoughts, and they
Right.
disagree in energy fields and all this stuff. And I think they would at the same time see how similar the argument she's making to the argument that they make, right? They feel a connection to God. They feel his presence. It's exactly the same words.
Wouldn't it be fascinating to have like your relative and this person do some kind of interesting essay exchange and have them sit side by side and
lay out their arguments.
Each lays out, and it's where it's so similar and where it diverges, and how it'd be kind of interesting to hear that. Yeah.
And then, of course, how can we use the same argument to argue for two opposing?
They may find, they may find a common ground that there's a spiritual nature in everything, and everybody's right.
Yeah, maybe so, or maybe they'll
way.
discover electromagnetic waves somehow.
Maybe.
and into the spiritual,
Okay.
I feel it. And if I feel connected to this tree, for example, this tree cannot be rooted into something that is dead,
Just look at the trees.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So if I am connected vibrationally, energetically to this tree is now connected to something else. The roots go into the ground. The ground, speaks to, they've been doing all kinds of scientific studies about how the forest speaks to each other underneath the ground, right?
Yeah.
So there's a ripple of
Isn't
speech.
that Avatar?
but it's all energetic. It's all vibrational. So it has to be global. Right.
I mean, that is a plausible claim that trees communicate with each other, but like not in the way, like what do you mean by vibrational? Like that's the mechanism, or is there some other more natural mechanism? Is she saying spiritual stuff?
I think like the movie Avatar, if you've ever seen that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like the blue one, right? The blue people Avatar.
Yeah, where the trees
not
communicate. Yeah, exactly.
She's making this larger claim too that I'm not sure I agree with. It's like trees have to grow in like live soil or fertile soil, and since they, I think she's making this claim that nothing is dead essentially. Like the trees have to go into the soil, and it can't just be the surface. Everything has to be connected, like I guess down to the core of the earth or something like this.
Maybe if they get energy from the soil to grow, the soil must be alive. Is what I hear her saying.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I would say that soil is alive. Just because I don't know much about soil or what exactly it means to be alive, I guess. But I would say that there are some things on Earth, planet Earth, that are dead. Rocks included.
I wonder does empty space have any vibrational energy?
Like a vacuum?
Yeah, she said Mother Earth is surrounded, is a consciousness surrounding Earth. But what about empty space in between galaxies?
I bet upon finding out that waves travel through space, you would agree that space has energy.
Yeah. Her version of energy, like the vibrational stuff? Or,
yeah, I'm not sure. But I've heard it so many times, right? How do you know that there is a God? Well, look around the trees. I mean, it's almost a trope, right? But like the world we live in proves that there's a God. How can there be this majesty of life? And I think she feels that, right? She feels the awe and the wonder of growth and development and trees. But she's drawn a completely different conclusion from people who are, let's say, Christian.
What would they say?
Yeah, no,
that God is the one who made the trees, right?
I see.
How could such an amazing thing as a tree exist if not for a God who created it?
I see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the similarities are definitely there.
And how that would fit in.
Yeah.
I'll keep going.
Right? And if it's not just global, I mean, if it can't be just the surface, because the animals go deep into the ground is made up of the rocks. Like it's a feeling that it's listening to you and you are listening to it.
So you believe that this tree has thoughts, and that that everything on Earth has thoughts?
Yes.
Like this?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything carries our energy, our wishes, our imprint, if you will. Even electronics, even tables. It's not the type of thought that we are used to thinking as a human, right? These are energetic flows.
So that's what you're sort of calling a thought is
correct.
Energetic flows.
There's different types of thoughts, and so
does that clarify?
It seems like her primary reason for believing the belief, if I understand, is feeling. If I understand her correctly, it's just an intense feeling she has, and I'm wondering. I would probably want to know if you've ever had an intense feeling to your bones. They're so strong, and which later turned out to be not correct. And what's that feel like? Yeah.
It's a good question.
Yeah. Although that is at the epistemological level, and this is entirely psychosocial motivations at this point, in my mind. Like, you can talk about that stuff, but unless she figures out a way to alternatively meet these needs, talking about feeling as a way to know it's going to have no impact.
It may be important just to start with, do you want to believe true things? Right? Or do you want to believe things that provide comfort?
Yeah. Mark, the more I watch your videos, the more I see how helpful the whole 0 to 7 scale that you have, well, first of all, 0 to 7, how much you believe in your belief, but also how much you care about believing true things. I think it's really helpful. I kind of want to steal it, but I have this desire to be different,
I think I must have stole it from somebody. I don't think I came up with it. I mean, I think maybe Reid had done it in a video or two, or maybe one of his earlier ones. I'm not sure, but I just don't want to take credit for it. But
it's a super good question, and I think it starts the interview off on the right foot every time.
Yeah, it kind of gives you, what avenue to go down, kind of what do I need to start off with first? And I think that maybe speaks to what Reid is saying. If someone says that it's not that important for what they believe is true, well, that's an entirely different conversation you're going to embark on. Yeah.
A little bit left here.
Is my whole purpose of connecting in meditation, connecting to whatever form of thought is good for me in this moment. And meditation is always for your highest good. Okay. It's never a bad thing. It never introduces anything bad. It's simply allowing yourself to be still, to be relaxed, to be in your moment, and to be your highest self. So I connect to things.
I definitely connect with that. Whenever I successfully meditate, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I do love meditation. All right. One more question.
Sure.
You said you're 100% on this idea. You brought up a few different ideas, but sort of briefly, it's like when you meditate, you're being in the moment and you're connecting with like Mother Earth, or at least you were when you were by the river just
Correct.
now. Yeah. And you said you're like 100% on that.
Correct.
On that.
Yeah.
How would you? Let's see. Is there anything that could get you less confident? Like, is there any experience that you could have, or information that you could learn that would make you like a 90% or a 10% on that claim?
I can tell you, I love learning. I'm very open to different ideas, different thoughts, different suggestions. Not that I've lived 100 years, but I can tell you in the life that I have lived, there isn't anything that has yet to convince me that is not the case.
Sure.
And it's not because someone is telling me or because I'm reading something and it's like, oh, that must be true. It's a feeling. And we all know that we cannot deny our feelings, right? So unless something were to ever change my feeling, I know that I would always stay at 100%.
What is that something? What is that potential criteria or condition? That's the key question.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like she's saying her feelings are paramount above stories that she's read or things that other external sources of information. She said, you can't deny your feelings. And so it would just, I guess, have to be a new feeling that contradicts with what she was feeling previously.
Yeah, I think this piece is so important because I kind of agree with her. I mean, it's so hard to come in. Mark, you're looking at me.
Just see where you're going.
It's so hard to sit with a feeling and challenge it with thoughts. I find that personally to be very difficult, even as self-reflective as I've become or whatever, and I like to think rational, and I think to myself, I have no good reason for believing this. I have no evidence. It's so hard to take that and to dig away at the feeling. And I think it just takes time, right? That's why these beliefs take so long to fade away.
Yeah, it's difficult for me, but I think where Aurora and I differ is like I I find it virtuous for my feelings to be chipped away by evidence or reason or logic or something like that. And so though I find the process difficult or grating or something, I think that my feelings should be changed by external sources, or it seems like she doesn't think that.
I think she does. I think she does, because earlier in the conversation she said, I changed my mind on this. And even now she's saying, I can't say 100%. I might find something in the future that would change my mind, right? So I hear that she's open to new evidence. It's just so hard to defeat that feeling.
Go ahead.
I hear that she's open to new feelings. I don't like.
That's interesting.
I'm not sure how much she values evidence. She seems what's the philosophical term for someone who believes that their experience is everything, or
Solipsism?
Yeah, that. But there's something, I don't know. There's something more specific to what she is.
Empiricism is about senses.
I'll text it to you guys later, or message it to you guys later. But when I find it, but yeah, kind of solipsism. But I don't know. Yeah, she spends this whole last part saying that she is that she's open, but there hasn't been anything in her entire life that's gone contrary to this belief that she has.
It's like number 9 on the survey. We should be satisfied with a test that can only confirm our claim.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
the.
I want to.
Go ahead.
This goes. Sorry, Diamond. You go.
Oh, I was just going to comment on the very beginning of this question. You started it with just one more question, and I've tried to just get rid of that statement because it's almost always a lie, right? Because you don't know what they're going to say, and you know that there's probably. But if you just say something like, we'll wrap up soon or something, because I know what you meant by it, but it never works.
Yeah. No, you're right. This just so happened. No, actually, there was one more question after this, but yeah, the desire for that is to let them know, like, don't worry, it's going to be over soon, kind of a thing. But yeah, we'll wrap up soon might be a better alternative, actually.
But I think she's enjoying herself. I think she could. Much longer too.
Oh yeah. I think she's going to go home. I think she's going to enjoy this conversation, for the rest of the day. She felt like she connected with you.
Yeah.
I
actually enjoyed it too. Yeah.
I'm not really sure how to put this, but because I have such a hard time thinking of myself as this optimist, right? It seems so foreign to me to just be pleased with everything. And like, if you think about something like a fear, like imagine somebody who's afraid of dogs. They know that dogs aren't statistically dangerous, and yet the fear is still there. And that's how I see this, as but like the flip side of this, right? They know that not everything is great, and yet they feel like everything is great.
How does what do you do with that fear? Trouble?
That's maybe a good way to start.
I'm just trying to think this through of, kind of believing that the universe is looking out for you, and that if you really want something, if you just think about it hard enough or believe it hard enough without action, that it'll happen. What is the downside, of having this belief? Is it all upside, and I think that's kind of a useful thing to, I don't know if it's useful to explore with her, because maybe you're kind of moving a belief support and shaking it around too much, but I mean, it's just interesting to think about,
Yeah, I think well, first of all, where I and Aurora meet is, well, first of all, I also appreciate meditation, but I think that the law of attraction in a more stripped down sense is something that I think definitely works. Like if you focus on something that you want, I think you're more likely to get it. But I tend to think that the mechanism that you achieve the thing is through action, because you're thinking about it and you're focusing on it so much that you are more likely to to act on whatever the situation is. She seems to think that thought alone is
Yeah.
sufficient. But as to your question or your observation, Mark, it's like I think when I was a kid, I was a lot more optimistic than I am now. Like I was a lot more hopeful, and I thought that every good thing that everyone told me was going to happen. And I get the downside to me was just that my heart kept getting broken. You know, like I kept running up against disappointments.
You're saying reality didn't match up with the thinking, how you were thinking about things.
Yeah, like I had a very positive outlook on life. I just thought it was going to be awesome, and it kept kicking my ass, and then it hurt, and so now I have a bit or more of a balanced approach and try to manage my expectations and understand that bad things happen, and so when they do, I'm not hurt as badly. So that's what I imagine. If Aurora really does have this optimistic of a viewpoint, I imagine that when something bad actually happens, it maybe hurts a lot more. Like she's more disappointed.
Or maybe she's more inclined to recontextualize it.
It happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
One
Just
other
don't
interesting. Yeah.
So I've got a hard out in 3 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Let's
Sure.
just wrap this up. This is a
Yep.
really good conversation, Quinn. Let's just wrap this up.
Yeah.
Thing
I really
were
enjoyed this.
to ever change my feeling, I know that I would always stay at 100%
But,
certainty.
okay. But you're saying that something could change your feeling.
I will never say that there are no possibilities of anything out there, because I've seen some remarkable things and I've learned some remarkable things.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine anything that would say absolutely, but as it stands right now, I've yet to come across anything that would convince me even to knock off 1% of that.
Okay. Aurora, thanks for sitting down.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's
Handshake.
good to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Terrific discussion, Quinn. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, she said handshake as we shook hands. I don't know. That was weird, but
I think we aren't we in a time when actually touching people is kind of special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For my whole first year of doing these interviews, I never shook hands because of COVID, and I shouldn't shake hands now, but there was a brief window where I felt like it was socially acceptable.
Can always go for the elbow bump.
True. Yeah. All right. Good conversation.
Yeah.
Good talking to you guys.
Another good SE Review show. See you guys.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week.
Bye-bye. Thanks.